Alright, I think we've started it. Yes. Alright, anyone want to explain why we're doing this?
I don't really know.
We're
Yeah,
mainly
neither do
just
I.
doing this out of fun. And we're
Yeah,
bored.
fun. More.
We got some cool
Yeah.
stories to share with folk. So we're gonna do that. So, we should start out on a topic. We'll have fellas choose a
Should we
topic.
do? No. All
Me,
right.
I say Stalin's railway.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. So, give us a little bit of context on that, and then we will.
Well, it's referred as the Dead Road. It was a project by Stalin to build a railway from Igaka to Salekhard, and it was mostly built with prisoner labor, and a large number perished, about 300,000,
What year was this?
1930s.
So it was at the height of the purges, I want to say. So
Yeah.
they had a lot of
Oh,
political prisoners do the work.
correction. Construction of the Salekhard-Igaka railway began in the summer of 1949.
1949. So yeah, it was after the purges.
After World War II.
So yeah, they still had a lot of German POWs constructing the
Yeah,
railway.
German POWs. Possibly some Japanese POWs from the Kalk and Gall border battles.
Yes.
Under the supervision of Colonel Baranov, Barabanov, actually. The 501st Labor Camp began work eastward from Salekhard, while the 503rd Labor Camp pushed westward from Igaka. Plans called for a single-track railway line with 28 stations and 106 sidings. It was not feasible to span the 203-kilometer OB River crossing all the 100 and no 1.6 kilometer wide Yenisei River crossing. Ferries were used in the summer, while in the winter trains crossed the river using a track laid on the ice.
Why was it called the Death Road? Did they give an explanation to that in the article or whatever you're reading?
Almost 500,000 of POWs died while building it.
What they died to, the elements, stuff like that.
Elements and starvation and abuse.
Yeah. Most of them probably were German, Japanese, all POWs. And if you look at any other casualty rates from the gulags at the time, you can see that a lot of them were just beat to death and starved. So you can probably assume that their construction from the railway, they were also beat to death and starved.
Yeah, and the railway was linked with Vorkuta.
So yeah, do you know if the railway had any connection with the Vorkuta riots, or do they not say?
No, it doesn't say, but it was
I
connected to the Gulag in Vorkuta,
I believe the Vorkuta
mostly
riots
for
were
coal.
sometime in the late 50s because it shut down in the early 60s, I believe.
Well, it was when Stalin was still alive in power because all the labor camps were shut down when he died after he suffered a
Oh,
stroke.
and the construction restarted in 2010.
So, is it still ongoing?
Oh, the reconstruction of the Salekhard Nadium line is now, as of 2016, projected to take place between 2018 and 2022.
Is that when it's expected to finish?
Yeah,
All right, all right.
I think it's gonna be an interesting historical place to visit.
So it's gonna be a railway line, like you said. So it's probably gonna trade back and forth. But it was probably
Yeah,
reopened in 2010 to try and bolster Russia's quote unquote failing economy. They're not doing so bad, but they aren't doing
yeah.
great either. If you look at the ruble to USD and
Actually,
Euro.
Vorkuta could be an interesting topic for next time.
Yeah, we just need to
Yeah,
write down some more stuff, get an article up.
or like nuclear disasters like Chernobyl, Fukushima, and 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, I'm a complete
Yeah.
outsider to all those topics, so it would be nice explaining it to an outsider like me. But the Death Road or whatever it was called, am I correct? Death
Yes.
Railroad. Yeah. So that was cool. We can imagine working on a railroad though. It's the middle of Siberia. You just got finished with 4 years of war, World War II, and now you're forced to work on a railroad, and you're hungry all the time. The guards are
Yeah.
threatening you. Messed up. Alright, what?
It is kind of messed up.
Yes.
Now, Pigeon, do you have any topics?
Um, we can move on to.
I might have a topic we can do. We can do
We
the
can.
outlaw fast.
We can, or we can do the civilizations before Samaria and Mesopotamia, which is kind of cool,
I don't
but I'm fine with
necessarily know
anything.
much about that.
So, do you guys want me to explain my theory on
Yes.
that and go in depth on it? Alright. Alright, so while listening to a Sumerian song a couple months ago, it talked about people in ancient times, and anyone who knows the general thing of history knows that Mesopotamia and the Fertile Crescent area, those has the first recorded civilizations. There were obviously previously unrecorded villages and civilizations that didn't record their own history, but it talks about people in ancient nights and in oh, I just hit a blank spot. And I think we don't have really any evidence to support this other than things that happened later in history that would go along with my theory. I'll state the theory now. There were civilizations before Sumer and Mesopotamia that had recorded history in written language. Why? Because it would be. Alright, so they started writing things down over the course of years. They didn't just start overnight, but they would have to learn from somewhere. So it's plausible that they learned from another civilization that they could have conquered or went to war with outside of the Mesopotamia. Why I believe this is because the fire of the Alexandrian Library. That is an example of the Romans didn't intentionally start it, to my knowledge. Crab, correct me if I'm wrong, but uh,
Actually, it was accidentally caught on fires during the Alexandria riots during the siege of Alexandria.
yeah, and so yeah, that wasn't intentional, but we
However, may I also add, only parts of the library got destroyed. Most of it was still able to run up until the Muslim conquests.
yeah, but that was just a point. It was a bad point at that, so I probably shouldn't have said it. But there have been points in history where one civilization went to war with another and just completely wiped it out to the point where you didn't even know there was a civilization there. So it could have been plausible that Sumer or any of the Mesopotamian civilizations went to war with another civilization that was older than them, completely burned everything down, and stuff like that, like the written language, their history and records, and we just don't know because we can't tell. But that's really my theory. I can go in depth, but I don't have it any written down. But there probably was, with written language, other civilizations before Sumer. Because just things we've seen in history, like, as in civilizations wiping each other out completely, no records or anything. Anyone got any input to that?
Not really.
No, those aren't. You're not a very big theorizer, aren't you?
I am a big tier. Yes, I am actually, but I don't really know about that topic at all.
Yeah, I kind of thought about it, just on a whim. I thought about it when I listened to the song.
Didn't that library burn down in the 2000s sometime?
I
Burnt,
don't know.
burned down, I think, in only like around like 40 or 50 years before time went from BC to AD, so around I think like 49-ish BC, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact date
So about
at the moment.
1900 something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a while ago, yes.
I was born that year.
Valdez is Sage from Black Flag.
Alright, what topic shall we do now? Should we do one of my topics or another one of your
If
guys'
you want,
topics?
we still got time. We've only been recording for 10 minutes.
Alright, let's try to squeeze one more in.
Yep.
What about, I'm thinking, I think the Outlaw Pass would be easy, but we can do it fast. There's a lot of
Well, no,
stuff
you
we
don't
already know
have to
about it,
do it
but a lot
fast.
we don't necessarily have to do it fast. Just not like 20 minutes on it. Just a bit.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
Alright, well, how do you guys think the hikers died at the Outlaw Pass?
Um, I've watched a fair bit of videos, but not extensive research. I really think the Reds had more to do with it than they let on. They probably know more incriminating evidence against them. They just never released it. So they
There's
probably do know
definitely
more.
something to do with like government, but it wouldn't. It would not give. It would not show how they died. The hikers died. They when the bodies were recovered. So many of them had burns because they were so cold. They tried to they put their
Didn't
bodies in fire.
they rip the tent from the inside?
Yeah, they ripped the tent from the inside, but walked down the mountain slowly. So they got out of the tent fast, but walked down the mountain in an orderly fashion,
An orderly.
which is quite odd. But that wouldn't explain the
My
injuries. I
my
know,
my theory is that they got executed or something.
but
Someone.
there was no like like gunshot wounds or stab wounds on him. Well, there was a few
Yeah,
scratch
yeah.
marks,
Well, they
but
could have escorted them and left them to freeze.
that is true. But that wouldn't explain because three of the hikers had injuries that couldn't have been caused by humans, like big traumatic injuries, like a massive rock falling on them or something like that.
Mm.
And also, one of them had their tongues ripped out, which is
Un-
odd. And
yeah,
also, a few of them had their eyeballs missing, but that might have been because they were face down in the river.
and the Ripper washed them away. But
Mm.
animals were ruled out because the natives to that mountain said that there was nothing there for the animals, so there was not much hiding spots for them. From what I'm, this is just from what I'm assuming, just background knowledge of what animals like. So, and there were no animals there, so they must have been attracted. There was something non-human there. It had to have been attracted by something. What would that would be? I don't know. Maybe you guys know.
What about the UFO?
There was a UFO.
Probably could have been.
Yeah, could have been alien.
No, nobody really knows what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure the Soviet government had more to do with it or more evidence than what they let on. Did they ever get an autopsy on the bodies or no? Or what?
I apologize for that. I was interrupted.
Yes.
Yeah, but didn't they? Some of the clothes had radiation.
Which is odd because they were away from all military installations and anything that could contain radiation. Am I correct? Because it's just like the woods, the forest, a mountain, right? So why would they have radiation on them?
Yeah, that is true.
And where would they get it from?
I am
Maybe
back. I apologize. Well, what are we talking about?
on the past
The
dial.
guy that had radiation on his clothes worked at a radioactive factory producing something that had to do with radiation.
So
But
his
continue.
jacket. Go on. Crab, were you saying something?
But
What about the factory and the radiation?
he was a factory worker that had in his factory there was radioactive material in it, so that would explain that. What
So yeah,
doesn't explain anything is that really odd image in there that the hikers found of that mysterious upright creature in the middle of a path. Now, I'm not saying that that's true at all, but it's very odd and very suspicious that that's in their camera. And it wasn't fake at all, that's from the original image. It doesn't make any sense.
but also think
This is
about
an
it. If
odd
it,
thing.
all right, all right. So I just thought of this. You could point it out as wrong in like a couple hours time, but I if they saw some peculiar and it kind of scared them, why would you stand there and take a picture of it? Especially if from the picture it looked over 7 feet tall, maybe. I could be wrong. And
Yeah, that
quite
doesn't make
big.
much sense. But they might have just been in shock.
Yeah. But why? What would if you were in shock? What would make you take your camera out from wherever you
Yeah,
had it and take a picture of it?
yeah, I didn't know that either. I know in the last photo that they took, there was like on the camera, there's a bit of light in it, but that might just be the moon.
Um, do we know what time the last picture was taken at? Because this was quite near the Arctic Circle, so daylight hours were weird. Am I correct? Well, in Siberia, if you do the
It was
curvature of
in,
the Earth,
I believe, the northern Urals,
so
but
not too far towards the North
it was
Pole.
like I think it was taken like really only like before they ripped open the tent because it's like kind of like the camera was pushed down like some fabric or like in the snow or like it was pointed up at something and I didn't have time to focus. It wasn't focusing and you could see a bit of light, which is odd. Very
So,
odd.
what
Well,
would make
also, this has nothing to do with the topic, but Schnitzel got on if he ever wants to join this podcast
all right?
thingy. We're doing.
But they would have to have hit a button or something on the camera for it to take a picture, unless they intentionally took a picture. But there are
Yeah,
multiple other theories. I know I read one that they all somehow went insane the same day they went on the trip and caused them to rip open the tent and just start running for the hills. Or they could have been, stoned to the gills, as Joey Diaz puts it. And I don't know.
I know. It was proven that a few of the people were intoxicated. But
So,
also, another odd thing. Oh,
can I
yep,
add to that the Dyatlov Pass incident thing, you know? Related reports. Another group of hikers about 50 kilometers south of the incident reported that they saw strange orange spheres in the sky to the north on the night of the incident.
I heard about that. That is odd. I don't know what could
Like
explain
I
that.
said, I think it's a UFO, probably.
It might be.
oh,
That may also explain that weird image of like that one of the last images they took of the light in the sky or wherever it was.
Yeah.
that reminds me of something. It's off topic a bit, but we got time. So, while listening to Joey Diaz and Joe Rogan, he said Hudson County, New Jersey, is the most UFO sighting spot on the East Coast, maybe in New Jersey alone. I don't know about the East Coast, but I know it's the most. It's where in New Jersey, that's the spot where you can see a UFO a lot. And Joey Diaz said himself that he would see, feds there closing down the park with there would be three quote unquote craters. I don't think that's the right word, but you know, where you would have like a landing tripod or something, right? And people would say to like the police or the feds that would come at knocking, say, yeah, I saw a few lights around 11 o'clock last night, and then they just close the whole thing down. But so UFOs, it is plausible. Navy did confirm that there has been confirmed UFO sightings by the Navy. So we don't know. Maybe there's can shed some more light in the near future if we get any more reports on that.
Yes.
Probably aliens.
Also, another thing, but I couldn't find the I don't know the exact thing. I mean, there's like another video, but also somewhere in the Ural Mountains, the group of hikers died randomly because of what appeared to be nerve agent, and only one survived and was just walking around in the forest until a bunch of Ukrainian kayakers found her.
Nerve agent. Do we know what that nerve agent was made out of?
I'm pretty sure in the article I saw it was specified. I can no, I need to dig deeper to find the article and the
What
name of the
are
video and the information.
usually what are nerve agents usually made out of? It's chlorine and something.
I don't know, but the people they would start to bleed out of like their eyes and stuff, and they start foaming at the mouth. And then they like rip off their clothes because they couldn't breathe, and they would just die. And only one of them survived
That reminds me of cyanide.
because that person may have been downwind of whatever it was.
Cyanide foams up the lungs, I think. But when you bite into cyanide, it just stops you from breathing, and the
But
blood
it was
in the
nothing they ate
eyes that
because if
go
something
on.
they ate, the one survivor would have eaten it as well. It was something in the wind. It had to have been because that's the only way that she could have survived. That she was a bit downwind of whatever it was
Mhm.
and off, so the wind just didn't get her.
Well, you can survive small doses of cyanide. Apple seeds and almonds are examples of that because they both have cyanide in them, and you can eat those fine as long as you don't eat like a bunch of pounds of them. So it is possible to
Well,
survive cyanide in small doses. But yeah, I think with that one, it was probably some biochemical weapon testing, and they probably
Yeah, but
tested it
it's
somewhere.
kind it's kind of strange that they did bio weapon testing in that area specifically.
Well,
yeah, one thing is odd. It was quite close to a Russian-made like little shelter, like a hiker shelter, which is odd.
what type of
Unless the
shelter?
hikers just it was like a little tiny like wooden hut you would just go sit and like camp out, wait for like the blizzard to pass over, which is but who knows, like maybe there was something in the area that the Russian government did not want them seeing, and
Or
just
yeah, or they were burying stuff
because
there.
there's another odd thing. When the reports first came out that the hikers went missing, they waited. The government waited a while. They waited like a week to send out a search and rescue party,
Yeah, they
which they might have been waiting for whatever they used to pass over,
they
dissipate.
definitely had more influence than they let on. But yeah,
Yeah, because they found the one survivor down by our river, just walking aimlessly, covered in blood by a bunch of Ukrainian kayakers.
but the blood in the eyes, like you said, right? Am I correct? They had
I
blood.
believe they were bleeding out of their eyes.
Any
Yes.
other glands that they were bleeding out of?
I think that they might have been bleeding on more spots, but I haven't seen the article. And the video that I watched, it had all the
Um,
spots where they were bleeding out of, and it could have
was
explained like a poison mushroom, but the rest of it wouldn't explain the poison mushroom. And also, they were
about
with they.
about that nerve agent. I don't think it's a nerve agent. You
Okay.
know, katabatic wind. In 1978, at a Norris mountain in Sweden, where 8 hikers were killed and one was severely injured in the aftermath of katabatic wind.
What?
That could be
Go on, Valdez.
is a drainage wind, a wind that carries high-density air from a higher elevation down slope under the force of gravity. Such winds are sometimes also called fall winds. Kataba- Katabatic winds can rush down elevated slopes at hurricane speeds, but most are not as intense as that. Not all downslope winds are katabatic. For instance, winds such as the Föhn and Chinook are rain shadow winds, where air driven upslope on the windward side of a mountain range drops its moisture and descends leeward drier and warmer.
So, what you're explaining, Valdez, is winds that come from a high altitude bringing low pressure air. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Or So what that would mean is if you encountered it, correct me if I'm wrong. Like
You would run.
yeah, I. But if you stayed in there, wouldn't it be hard to breathe? Because
Yeah.
if same way if you were climbing a mountain and you reach higher altitudes, you would need oxygen because oxygen is a
Yeah.
lot thinner.
There's no air to breathe. But
Yeah, but
at that point, there's so much air that you can't really breathe.
yeah, but that doesn't explain the blood eyes and the foaming at the mouth and one out of the three surviving. But that is a good point. It could be possible, but the blood in the eyes. So you guys know how tear gas works, right? I'll explain it
Yes.
anyway. Tear gas is non-lethal. We all know that. It
Yeah.
over.
It's basically onions in a can.
Yeah.
Alright, I found out what it's called.
All right, lay it
It's
on us.
called the Kamar Daban incident, where how many were there? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and no, 5 of them died. Only one survived.
Oh. But tear gas, what I was saying, it makes your body overreact and make you think for yourself. That's why riot officers use it. So I think it was bioweapons designed by the Soviets for a potential, I don't know, Cold War gone hot.
Yeah.
Alright,
Because
may I add the symptoms of the Kamar Daban incident, where it is what I think was nerve agent?
yeah,
Oh, weakness, foaming at the mouth, paradoxical undressing, seizure, psychosis, paranoia, change of personality, bleeding of ears and nose, paralysis, asphyxiation, and loss of consciousness.
what was that second one? The paradoxal. What? What was that one?
Paradoxical undressing.
Can you explain what that is?
Um, they really just undressed because I believe since they couldn't breathe, they felt as if their clothes were not allowing them to breathe. So they just ripped off their clothes. I know like one of them died from hypothermia because of it.
Yeah,
But that
Because
doesn't
we
really
have to remember,
explain
it's still the
why
Cold
they
War.
were running.
yeah.
Well, that's psychosis.
Well, yeah, the
But
paranoia and the psychosis could
So they weren't
explain why they
running. They
were
all
running.
just they all just one of them got sick and they laid down, and the other one went back. And then so one of them got sick. Then one of them stayed. The rest kept on walking, and they heard a scream. Walked back up there. Those two were like dead. Then two others started dying. Then two survived, went into the woods, but then one of those two also got it, died, and then the last one just walked away or just started running.
And that was a survivor, correct?
Yeah, that was Survivor.
Yeah, that some spooky stuff.
I would love to talk to that person.
Are they still alive?
Probably.
Yeah, I believe so.
Um, and they're Russian, correct?
Um, it was in Russia, yes.
And they're currently living in Russia, right?
I believe they might actually be from Ukraine. When did this incident? 1993. So
All
right
right,
after the
so
collapse of the Soviet Union.
yeah,
So that adds to it.
and if the records, Putin was a KGB agent before he was president in Russia.
I believe Boris Yeltsin was still the president at this time.
Yeah,
I
but
believe.
still, Putin probably doesn't want them leaving or talking to anyone. That person who survived, because they may know
Hold on.
something. Being honest with
Oh,
you.
we're back.
All right. Then there was me, Valdez, and I. But I'll keep talking. I think Putin doesn't want any more of that information getting out because it may just put him under further controversy. Not that he already has a lot, because he does, but the Russians doing some sketchy stuff. CIA does sketchy stuff too. The U.S. like MK Ultra, Valdez, you know about MK Ultra, right?
Alright, I'm back. Apologize for that.
I was talking about that the Russians do sketchy stuff, especially during the Cold War, and the CIA also did some sketchy
Is
stuff.
she survived, but what she told
Both of
might not have been
them did
100%
very
true.
sketchy stuff.
Because
Yeah,
you have to remember, she was in shock for most of her life after that.
yeah,
Like
but
traumatized. She has PTSD, I believe. Something like that.
so they probably can't give an accurate insight
not accurate, but what they gave seems quite accurate. Like odd foaming at the mouth, paradoxical undressing, bleeding the eyes and or no, bleeding at the nose and the ears.
but not bleeding from the eyes.
Not bleeding from the eyes. I was wrong about that.
So yeah, we can roll. So the thing I said about pepper spray, ignore that because I don't think there are any glands in your ears. There are in your nose though. So
I know people that have survived urgent innervations apparently said that they bleed from their
Oh, um,
yes,
s-
Feldas?
what sarin? Sarin is a human-made chemical warfare agent classified as a nerve agent. The,
Hmm.
ex- the extent of poisoning caused by sarin depends on the amount of sarin to which a person was exposed, how the person was exposed, and the length of time of the exposure.
What are the effects of it?
People people exposed to a low and moderate dose of sarin by breathing contaminated air, eating contaminated food, drinking contaminated water, touching contaminated surfaces may experience some or all of the following symptoms within seconds to hours of the exposure: runny nose, watery eyes, small pinpoint pupils, eye pain, blurred vision, drooling, and excessive sweating, cough, chest tightness, rapid breathing, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and/or abdominal pain, increased urination, confusion, drowsiness, weakness, headache, slow or fast heart rate, low or high blood pressure. Oh,
also, what other thing?
loss of consciousness, convulsions, paralysis, respiratory failure, possibly leading to death.
Also, may have been radiation sickness. Kind of sounds like it.
Um,
From radiation sickness, you don't bleed from the eyes.
no. You cough up blood when you have radiation sickness. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Because your organs are
What?
kind of like melting.
you basically melt from the inside.
Yeah, it's like
That is true.
yeah. That bringing all right. All this talk about chemicals and stuff. I have a good topic. I didn't write it down, but so
Hold up.
go on, Crab.
According to one of the comments on this video, it sounds like this chemical agent made by the Russians during the Cold War called yellow snow.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all it sounds, according to this guy, like yellow snow. And I think Valdez can probably find the symptoms for that.
Yeah, because he's the big Googler. Because I can't
Yellow
Google.
snow. Yellow snow.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Yes.
Hmm. Was it a nerve agent?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a biological weapon.
It's yellow rain.
Oh, this guy calls it yellow snow.
Yellow rain. What are the effects of the yellow rain?
I'm trying to figure this out. Even I don't even know if I can find this, since Putin is an a-hole.
Yes, Putin doesn't let a lot of things out of his country now, do we? Do you want me to?
Samples of the supposed chemical agent that was supplied to a group of independent scientists turned out to be honeybee feces.
Wait. Honeybee pieces?
Feces,
Okay, go on.
suggesting that the yellow rain was due to a mass defecation of digested pollen grains from large swarms of bees.
So you're
Although
saying
the, al-
the Russian
although the
government
science,
weaponized bees?
no, Russia weaponizes everything.
Exactly. Go on.
Only
Although the scientific evidence conclusively showed that yellow rain was not a Soviet chemical or biological weapon, the US government has not retracted its false allegations, arguing that the issue has not been fully resolved.
yeah, I think I've heard something of this. It also I think it's called I think yellow snow is just a nickname for Novichok.
Try and find a bit about that, like the effects of it, so then we can try and accurately
No,
match it up.
Nova chalk.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Novichok. And it would make sense since they were researched between 1971 and 1993.
71 and 93. All right,
Hikers died in 93. It may have been one of the last tests.
but that was after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Would they still be testing it?
Perhaps. You have to remember, at this time in Russian history, there really was no centralized, really control. A lot of mafias controlled things.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Here is a pretty
Not saying
interesting thing: the Soviet nerve agent program. Here are some effects and countermeasures. As nerve agents, the Novichok agents belong to the class of organophosphate. I don't know what that's called, but yeah, these chemical compounds inhibit the enzyme acetylcholinesterase something, preventing the normal breakdown of the neurotransmitter. Yes, concentrations then increase at the neuromuscular junctions to cause involuntary contraction of all skeletal muscles. This then leads to respiratory and cardiac arrest, and finally death from heart failure or suffocation. Poisoning of Ivan Givelidi and Sarah Ismailova. A Novichok agent was used in 1995 to poison Russian banker Ivan Givelidi, who died 3 days later in a hospital at the age of 46. The poison was believed to have been applied to Givelidi's office phone in Moscow. His secretary Sarah Ismailova also developed symptoms 1 month later and then died a day later in hospital at the age of 35. Givelidi was the head of the Russian Business Roundtable and had close ties to Viktor Chernomyrdin, who was at that time Prime Minister of Russia.
is that all?
Who speculated that the murder became one of the first in the series of poisonings organized by Russia's security services.
All right. So yeah, overall, I we should start wrapping this up. Overall, we'll have final remarks. I'll start first. I think the Russians have something to do with it. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Yeah, more than they let on. But this whole thing's got me thinking. I know I didn't write down this topic, but we can go into it anyway because we still got time. But so I've been watching. I told Crab about this. I haven't told you about this, but I've been watching a lot of Walking Dead lore, so I'm big into zombie stuff right now. So and just prepping all around. So what if something were to happen, either disease or total collapse of society? What is your plan? And just go over it all, like what you would bring, where you would go, what you would drive, and stuff like
Well,
that.
if we're being realistic, we
Yeah,
probably won't be able to do anything. We
yeah,
would
but
all probably die in the matter of a few days.
essentially. But let's
If
just
I did happen anywhere though, I would go
Let's
into
let's
like the
let's
Midwest
just
instead.
say that there's a huge radioactive fallout coming.
Oh yeah, we're dead.
It's a nuclear. Well, let's say it's just a nuclear winter.
so you survived the initial blast. There's a bunch of ash and stuff in the air, and nuclear winter is coming because the ash has blocked out the sun. Go on, Valdez.
I would probably bring an infinite lighter, my knife, and some firewood and food for a couple of days, and a hammer and some nails to make a place where I can stay.
Yeah, if I was in your predicament and you live in a quite urban area, that would be a lot of people there and a total
I
collapse of society. Go on, Valdez.
I live pretty much at the edge of the city, so I could take my bike like 30 kilometers north, and I'll be almost all alone. There's a small village next to it, but there's a huge forest, and there's a military radar at the top of the mountain, which I can loot or seek rescue.
Hmm.
Personally, would go if I was in my own predicament. New Jersey is a very urbanized, high population state, so I would boot it the hell out of here, cross the Delaware River somehow, head down towards Lancaster, PA, where it's all flat and open, and just slowly start making my way out towards the Midwest with like food, supplies, lighter,
All right.
tools,
Do you mind if I
knife,
stop
all
you right
that.
there, Crab? So,
Yeah.
what situation are you in before you start going over your plan? What situation would you be preparing for? As Valdez said, he was preparing for a nuclear winter. We're suspending our disbelief because, being realistic, if something catastrophic were to happen, like life changing to everyone on Earth, we probably wouldn't survive. But we're just suspending our disbelief to have a little bit of fun. So,
Along with you at least as a zombie scenario.
all
Just make
right,
my
all
way
right.
to the west
So,
where it's flat to see for miles.
but hold on. What type of zombie scenario? Like a bioweapon or just like a nature disease?
Um,
I say
nature
bioweapon
disease.
because the every zombie movie is from a virus.
Yeah, bioweapon would be cool to think about. Go on, Graham, take it.
Oh me.
Oh, I'm finished now. I'm good.
Alright. Valdez, do you want to go over your zombie survival situation?
Well, I don't really have anything because if we're being realistic, we will all die in a matter of days.
We would all end up dead
Yeah,
Alright.
somehow.
like, and in a week,
Yeah,
everyone will die.
pretty much.
Pigeon, this is off topic, but open up your Instagram. I'll send it to Valdez too.
Alright. Do you want me to
Uh,
go over my plan and situation?
Actually, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go.
What would you say if Animal Planet happened?
Animal Planet? Planet of the Apes?
Nee, Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that'd be terrifying because it would.
I would just return the monkey.
Exactly. Yeah, Return to Monkey. So, my plan, right? I'll just do bio, like, it doesn't matter, just a bioweapon in general. We'll just do a zombie bioweapon where the people it infects, only certain people would be able to spread it, others wouldn't. You feel me? I don't know how this would be possible. Well, we're not going for reason here. So first, I would. All right. So let's just say it targets a wide population area, either New York or Los Angeles or any of the sort. I live quite close to New York City, within 2 hours of it, right? So I first of all I would go to military surplus store, get a gas mask and filters, preferably a NATO gas mask that can take 40 millimeter NATO filters. Have that in a bag, travel light. Preferably have a gun on me, along with some sort of knife. or machete. Then just all around tools, food for 4 days, and a water purifier. And probably head towards the woods, preferably near a lake, so I can have access to food and fresh water and shelter, preferably on a high elevation near the lake, so it wouldn't flood. You know what I'm saying? So I would fish.
May I ask what time we're at for the video?
45 minutes. Um,
Um, we should probably start wrapping this up soon.
yeah. What do you guys want for our last? I say we should do a story time. But yeah, I would just survive at a lake. We should do. We should go around and tell a few stories to wrap this up. Who wants to go first? Anyone got a good one? Valdez, you got to have a few good stories. Come on, Valdez.
Do I have a good story?
Just think, you got to have a good one.
I do, but I don't think I will say it.
All right. What about you, Crab? You got any good? I know
I guess I have a short, kind of dumb story.
it doesn't
Kind of
have to be
funny, I
short,
guess.
but
So I was at I was camping, right? Yeah, so me and my brother like to go out that night when the security drives around and tells you to go out. We just drive around, hide from him. And out of nowhere, we see this golf cart, two Confederate flags on the back, flying up the road, blasting later scatter. There's like this 7-year-old kid with a mullet driving it.
is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I'm trying
Also,
to.
wait, one last thing. There's like 50 fishing poles on the front of that thing, I swear.
I'm trying to think of a good story. Hold on.
Also, they smoked marijuana every day. Alright, that's it.
So
Some
do I.
classy people. I'm trying to think of a good story I have. Oh, I think I have one. Crab, you were in this one, so it was about the time we went to go ding dong ditch the person. Can I tell it?
Wait, what?
It was on your do you want me to just tell it anyway? It's not
Yeah, sure. I don't know exactly what it
it's
is,
not
but
incriminating or anything. Or maybe it
alright.
is. I don't know. But oh wait, no, I got another better story. I think you were there for it too. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago. So in my couple years ago, before Corona happened, I would in the spring, a few of my friends and I, we would always go out and get some snacks and stuff from the food and go to the park and play
Oh, yeah, I
basketball.
think I know this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we would go, play basketball, hang out, all the sort, talk to each other. So one day we're going right. I think it was Crab and I. We were there because I think Crab lives far from the town center. So I think he was coming over my house after school, and we were walking to town to either practice hockey or something of the sort. So we're walking. Then we get to the park. We see a couple of my boy C. Russell D. and his entourage. So, we meet up with him. We say, hey, what's up, Connor? And he goes, yeah, what's up? And he doesn't say it like that. He says it in a much other voice. But, so yeah, we meet up with him. And, we go off to do our own thing. They go off to do theirs, I think, if I'm remembering this correct. Crab, you can jump in and correct me if I'm getting wrong. But if I can remember properly, we somehow found some more of our friends in a diner. So now there were 7 of us. This diner was one of the sketchiest diners in town. I've went to it a couple times in the past with my mother and her friends, and it always the food was okay. I'm not one to complain about food, but it was there. It always took a long time to get service, and it was just unappeasing joint. So we go in there. Most of their business was from kids getting to the park because they sold ice cream and 2-liter sodas there. So we go in there, right, and we weren't intending to order food, but we meet up with 3 more people, 7 of us in total. So no, we get there, right? We sit down for a bit. We start talking. I think we leave. Crab, did we leave and come back, or what? You know, I don't know if we left, but anyway, we come back. One of the people working there comes out and says, "Oh no, we can't serve all of you." So my boy C. Russell D. He gets an idea, screams an insult at it, and so do all of us. We scream an insult at the lady working there, and we haul it out of the diner. We do some Assassin's Creed 4 type stuff. Let me tell you, we went to a park, and this was spring, so there's usually a lot of people there, having a good time, chilling out. We go there, we just hide amongst the crowd. We go around the park, and I for sure saw the lady come out and start looking for us. Crap, do you remember anything from the story that I got wrong?
I don't think I was there, but I remember a similar one. We were at the place we were at the same place, and I don't think they could serve us. We went back to your place when we got there. You were gonna make a steak, but the basement door just randomly opened up.
Oh, can I tell that story?
Yeah, that was
Because that
funny.
was a
They looked
completely different.
right there.
That was a completely different time. I remember it like the back of my hand because it was only a year ago. So it was September. I was in playing football. But Fridays we don't have practice for football. So you know, it's one of the first days of school. So I'm talking to my friends and stuff, and we get a good idea that we want to go to a pizza place after school and get a bite to eat and some wings and stuff. So we had a half day cut short there because a power line fell and started a small fire. So they said, you know what, we're just gonna call it a half day. So we get there, we all get on a bus, we arrive at the same park near the diner. So we eat our pizza and stuff, right? We've had our fill, and then we meet up with my boy C. Russell D again. And then we meet some more people on bikes, we talk to them. We walk back to my house, we're chilling, I cook a mean steak. I asked, hey, you guys want a few things of steak? And they said, yeah, so they were downstairs playing video games. I was upstairs cooking steak. I get it done, it's all nice, they all enjoy it. So we're chilling downstairs, right? Four of us, we're all chilling, Crab and Nine, two others, chilling, playing video games. We hear a noise outside. And I said, well, you guys want to head back into town? None of us thought anything of the noise, because what were we supposed to think of the noise? So we say, one of us says, or we get on the topic of, do you guys want to go back into town and, hang out with everyone else? So we go there, right? And we keep hearing strange noises coming from the side of the house. I don't have a very big house. I'll put it that way. I have an alley at the side of my house used for storage and stuff. There's a crawl space there too. We have the crawl space blocked off with big cinder blocks. Because one time a squirrel got in there and died, and it reeked for 2 years. So we do that. We go out. We keep hearing noises. They book it down the road because it's not their house. So what do they care if it gets like robbed or some old man starts living in there? So I go there. I see the crawl space door wide open, and I just start booking it down the road. It was scary. I came back. The door was closed. I went to go look. The cinder blocks were just gone, so I had to get other bricks. But that was, yeah, that was a story. Scared me. You guys like it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aren't we out of time yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been recording for 53 minutes. I say we're gonna wrap it up.
I don't think anyone's gonna sit down and seriously watch this, but
But
who knows?
it's a cool experiment.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right. Well, this was episode 1 of an unnamed podcast.